This is clearly an act of terror. You just can't imagine this would happen to our community, our state, or anywhere in our country.
It's a horrible tragedy. We are mourning, we are sad.
As a country, we will be there for the people of Orlando today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come.
"50 dead, 53 wounded, people still searching for their loved ones."
This is the reality 24 hours after a gunman entered a popular gay nightclub in downtown Orlando and opened fire. His name is Omar Mateen. He exchanged fire with police outside of the club before entering, where he then began shooting. Next, he held several people hostage in the club bathroom. He was killed when Orlando SWAT team stormed in.
This morning, a city is in mourning. Police have called this an act of terror. Before the shooting, Mateen called 911 and pledged his allegiance to ISIS.
By the numbers, this is the most deadly terror attack on U.S. soil since 9/11. And now the gay community, the city of Orlando, and the country are heartbroken, looking for answers.
Investigators say it's too soon to say if this attack was specifically targeted toward the gay community. If so, that would also make it a hate crime.
But back home, local club owners are stepping up their security efforts. Savannah Levin spoke with one owner.
Hatred is work of the evil. It's work of the devil. It's evil.
Evil. Gary Dollahite says evil is what walked into a gay club in Orlando.
Oh my God.
Evil is why at least 50 people are dead.
All these things go through your mind. Well, what if it were to happen at our club? Or what if?
Gary owns the Capitol Club in Columbia, a gay bar that has stood strong here for 35 years. But this morning, he says, they were crushed.
I don't think we can put our arms around it and really understand it. I don't.
He says he's been devastated, confused, but not afraid. Are you scared?
No, absolutely not. If we become fearful, then they become successful. They control us, and if they control us, they're the winners. We will not allow them to control us.
He's going to meet with the staff to go over security measures, and the club will continue to stay open.
I plan on calling a board meeting with our board of advisors, and we'll move to the next level of security. I think it's important. I do not think, and I'm convinced, we're not going to act out of fear. That's not going to work. We are going to be proactive and not reactive.
He says although their hearts are hurting, this community will not be broken.
I think we will be stronger. I think we'll be a better community, and I think we'll even bond more tightly. I really do. We will bind together, we will come together, we'll stand together, we'll come out strong, guaranteed.
Meanwhile, a candlelight vigil took place last night at the Capitol Club.
News 19 Chuck Ringwald was there as more than 100 people showed up to have their voices heard. Chuck?
That's right, over 100 people gathered here at the Capitol Club honoring those 50 lives lost but never forgotten.
We shall all be free someday.
I tell them to not be afraid to come out. They need to stand up and be counted, because if we are in fear, they win.
Bill Skipper is the president of the Capitol Club, one of the few gay bars in Columbia. He says it's always been a safe place for members of the LGBT community.
This bar started out in June of 1980, and it was a refuge.
After the mass shooting at the gay nightclub Pulse, Skipper and owner Gary Dollahite opened their doors as an outlet once again, this time for a candlelight vigil.
My heart grieves today for those victims in Orlando, and it grieves for the young people now who think they're safe. They're not necessarily. There's a lot of hate alive in this world, and I pray for them.
Well, I think we're in shock. I think we're devastated, and terribly sad. It's just unbelievable.
Jeff March is the president of South Carolina Pride.
I thought we were making big changes, and I'm just shocked that we lost 50 people today and 53 injured.
But he says this crowd is proof that fear will not stand in their way.
We can't be afraid. We can't let anybody win. And we need to continue our fight for equality.
We have to always look to our past. It makes us strong. But we have to not be afraid, and we have to be who we are, and we have to accept that and we have to not be ashamed of who we are.
The people here continuing to recognize this tragedy, remembering those lives lost, but realizing that they need to move forward, stick together, and not let hate or fear win. In Columbia, Chuck Ringwalt, News 19, WLTX.
Absolutely. Now, tonight, another vigil will be held to honor the victims. It will be at the Reformation Lutheran Church. This is being hosted alongside South Carolina Equality, the South Carolina Gay and Lesbian Business Guild, and the Harriet Hancock Center at 6 tonight. The vigil will be held in the church sanctuary. That's located at 1118 Union Street in Columbia.
And around the country, people are reacting to the news of this shooting outrage. One of those people is the shooter's ex-wife. She says during her 4 months married to Omar Mateen, he physically abused her and forced her to cut ties with her family. After several months, her family came and, as she says, rescued her from him. She says he was bipolar and mentally unstable. She still was in shock to find out that her ex-husband was the shooter.
I was woken up by my parents calling me saying, Satora, wake up, Satora, wake up. And I thought something horrible happened. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I called them, and the first thing that they told me was your ex-husband was involved in a mass shooting, and, you know, reporters are at our house and calling us, and they will be probably at your house too. So I was devastated, shocked, started shaking and crying because more than anything, I was so deeply hurt and heartbroken for the people that lost their loved ones.
In Los Angeles, a man was arrested for carrying guns and explosive materials in Santa Monica that police say they believed he was planning to use at the LA Pride Parade and Festival. The event continued. People held a moment of silence for Orlando. And in New York, 2 vigils were held there, one in Queens, the other at the historic bar, the Stonewall Inn in the West Village neighborhood of Manhattan. New Yorkers gathered in solidarity and expressed their support for the victims in Orlando. And News 19 is continuing to follow the developments out of Orlando, both on air and online at WLTX.com. There you'll find details on the victims, a timeline of the shootings, and how the Midlands is responding. You can find all of that information and much more on our website, WLTX.com.